Greetings, comrades, and welcome to the Rad Gaming Podcast. I'm Jemshi.
And I'm Pescador. And in this episode of the podcast, we go over Prince Henry's feelings for Fortnite, Snapchat enter the gaming arena with some other heavyweights, and we kind of go off on a tangent about Elon Musk.
This episode of the Rad Gaming Podcast is sponsored by Cento Fiore. Cento Fiore is a lifestyle fashion brand that sees beauty and cultural heritage and always strives to offer timeless and elegant style. Visit cento-fiore.com to join the family. That's cento-fiori.com. All right, now let's jump into the podcast.
So, Jemshi, tell me, did you have any games that you were addicted to as a child? Ones that you could not put down and stop playing?
Oh, yeah. I think everyone's probably had those. For me, it was definitely between Pokemon and Super Smash Brothers. Those are the games that I could just play every day, nonstop, without question. I think it was even to the point that, like, even when I was in school, it would be all I would think about. Like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get home so I can make, like, because, like, I know you can, like, edit levels in Super Smash Brothers Brawl. Like, even when that came out, I was like, oh man, I can't wait to design these new levels or something.
Were you making it character specific, like just so you can to your advantage of one character?
Oh yeah, like of course it'd be like, oh, the one character is I can fly. I'll make like a platform way up at the top of the map, or something. And then I was like, oh well, I should start making some fairy levels. And I don't know. I was like, that's all I would think about when I was in school. Like I would sometimes think about school, and I would think about what was going on in class and talk to my friends, but
yeah,
I think I was just always so obsessed with that. I know I didn't have a smartphone in high school. So
did you have a flip phone?
Yeah, I had a flip phone.
I think I did too, actually, now that I think about it. Actually, I borrowed my mom's. I remember when I was 15 years old, man, I borrowed my mom's. That's how that was.
Yeah, I had to actually share a phone with all my siblings because we would all be at school. And it'd be just whoever had the phone be the one to like let them know that like, or something like, let's say somebody had an after school activity, you would wait for the other sibling to be done with their after school activity and yours at the same,
yeah.
And you meet up, and then because she's like, I'm not gonna go drive and pick you up to come back, drive and pick you up. That's how my mom was. So
isn't that crazy how things are anymore? I heard of like 10-year-olds having like smartphones now. Like it blows my mind.
Right, and then I think like even at home, kids like they don't have smartphones, but they have like a tablet. That like is just like the family tablet that they play on and play games and do all kinds of stuff. And it's just like, whoa, like growing up, I think for me, the coolest piece of technology was maybe like, man, I don't know, TV, I guess. Like what console video games?
I mean, I grew up on the NES, so I was super happy about it. And I would play that thing all the time. Super Mario World was my bread and butter, but like, I love that game. I mean,
right. I know that my parents definitely didn't want me to play video games because like they were like, oh, because my neighbors had a Nintendo 64, and she just knew that like from I guess the parents talking like, oh my gosh, I just play the games all the time. I'm always just trying to get them to do something else and go outside, but they're always sitting inside playing video games. And mom was like, not gonna happen to my kids,
Yeah.
But then whenever we go outside to play, we'd actually go over to our neighbors and play video games. So my parents were like, all right, if you guys are just going to play video games, we'll just get one anyway. So
that's actually hilarious. Just seeing you go down the street, your mom's like, he's going to be so sweet playing with his friends outside. And you're just like playing video games in the house.
Right. Like, you haven't really gotten a tan lately.
You look a little pale. It's because I was, bundled up and walked outside. It's January. Well, I mean, it's fine. I don't play in the snow very good, whatever. But I was addicted to basically anything designed by Bethesda. What was it? Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Elder Scrolls. I was hooked on those badly. Like, I would literally... I remember getting an achievement for like finding all the locations, and I made it like a priority to go around Fallout 3 and find all the locations. Like, it was bad.
Is there like a ton? I haven't played that.
Oh my god, yeah. Any map that's like, I'm talking about even the expansion packs. Like it was bad. Like all the expansion maps that you get. Oh, I played those. I beat them. Man, it was bad. I spent so much time on that, and I'm not gonna lie, people are gonna hate me for this one, but I played Minecraft a lot when I was a kid. Because I was a kid, you know? Fortnite, geez, man. Minecraft was fantastic. Like, the concept, never heard of before, you know? It was such a cutting-edge thing at the time, and I was so hooked on that game, I tried to build Minas Tirith from Lord of the Rings, and I got, like, the front gate done, because that thing is massive. And I built this giant thing, and I was real excited about it, and in school, I'd be actually drawing designs of it. I'm like, if I go... 20 blocks high. Is that going to... No, it's not going to cut it. Go 40 blocks high? Too much. Maybe 35. Fantastic. Okay. Then it was bad.
And then suddenly you hear your teacher, 5 minutes left on your exam, and you're like, oh, wait, what?
Dude, let me tell you something. One day in the middle of school, you know how they do popcorn, right? Like reading something, they got popcorn. You never heard of popcorn?
No. What are you talking about?
It's a thing in school, so like when you're reading... They go, okay, like they'll read a paragraph or however far they want to read, and then like a student will do this. And then they'll go, popcorn, somebody. And they'll say someone's name, and that person has to read where they left off. So like you have to pay attention, is the whole premise of that.
Oh man, that sounds awful.
You've never had, you ever played popcorn? Like it's a game like you play in school, kind of ish. I don't know what the...
That is trying to get people to read and pay attention.
Yeah, it's exactly what it was. But no, I remember this one time, man, I was not paying attention. Something involving video games I was thinking about or drawing out, and someone popcorned me, and I'm like, oh. And I couldn't remember at all where we were at, so I started reading, and I'm like going through this, and everyone's like staring at me. I'm like, dude, like, we read this before. I'm like thinking in my mind, someone's had to read this, and they're like, they finally stop me like when I'm done with my paragraph, and I'm gonna get the popcorn, and my teacher goes, you just read 2 chapters ahead. I'm not even on the same page. I'm not even the same chapter. Dude, it was ridiculous. And everyone's just like busting out laughing. I'm like, dang. So she's like, let me talk to you after class. I'm like, son of a gun, you know? But, I mean, that was the only time I ever got in trouble for thinking about video games. Yeah, but I will never forget that.
Did you have any sibling competition for like time on the console when you would get home from school?
No, my sister was... the only sibling I had, and she doesn't play video games, which was fantastic for me because that means like I got all the time I wanted.
Yeah, because for me, I had to like share time with all my siblings when we got home. So we'd all be like, oh, like who? Because my mom would be like, okay, you guys can set like a timer, and for like 20 minutes, you guys like you can only play video games and like on the console for 20 minutes until you have to switch off and the next person gets it, and then you can't get right back on.
Chinese fire drill, man. Just like, all right, you just hop, like one person hops off the machine and runs around, and you sit there and watch your brother while your brother hops on and starts playing. Is that what it was?
But then we figured out that we could play forever, pretty much, if we all just played together. Like, it was like that thing where you're like, you don't really want to be like playing games like, oh, I want to play this game, but like, if I play Smash Brothers or like, something like that. That was the game we always played, like our Mario Kart or something. I was raised on like Nintendo systems, but that was like our way of like
cheating the system
game, and like that way we could play more than just 20 minutes, and we all can play. So that was like, I think for me, I loved couch gaming where you could just sit there with for me, my siblings or friends. Oh, that was the other thing. If you had a friend over, they got exclusive access to the console while the friend was over, and I remember that being just like the most depressing
coolest thing ever. Though.
Yeah, you're like, oh, what are they gonna like? You like sit there and you're like, are they gonna play Mario Kart? Oh, hey, can I play? Like,
just sitting there waiting, just kind of lurking around the corner, but like,
I just pounce on them. So I just think I remember I would get in like fights with my siblings because like we would come home from like school or something, and we would all be like. We had our like routine that we would literally be like, all right, shoes up, backpack, boom. We're gonna go like to the console.
Backpack, boom.
Yeah, like so who's gonna get to the console first? And then my mom was like, no, like then because like we would literally be like, I got here first, like let me play. My mom would be like, all right, none of you guys can play.
Oh,
you know,
that's the worst. I never had an issue, so that's nice.
Yeah, so she like would eventually be like, okay, you can't play video games until you finished all your homework. And then that became like, how much can I lie? Because like,
how much can I lie?
Like, yeah, like what homework can I do at school? And then it just became like, okay, my grades have to be good enough. If they're going down, you know, my parents are like, okay, well, you definitely can't play video games. And it's like, oh man, being grounded. Oh man, you're bringing me back to the days. It was funny. Like all they had to do was be like, all right, no video games, and I just be like, oh dude, what am I gonna do this entire week? Like,
yeah,
I played video games way too much as a kid.
Dude, that makes me think, because that's kind of how it was for me. My mom noticed my grades were slipping at all, and she'd be like, nope, none. I'm like, but it's because the test was super unfair, and she's like, I don't want to hear it. None. Right. I'm like, dang it, you know?
That time studying instead of playing video games. I've heard it a million times.
It was so bad. The one time I remember my dad getting so mad with me because what happened was my dad was my sister. The reason why she didn't play games is because she was in travel softball a lot. My dad was a coach for travel softball, so he'd go with her and travel to, like, you know, I lived in Pennsylvania at the time, so they'd go to Ohio and they'd, you know, play a few games and they'd stay there. So when my dad was gone, my mom was like the nice one of the family, like the nice parent, you know. So she was kind of like, not a pushover, but you know what I mean. She's very easy to sway. I'd be like, can I play for a long time? And she'd be like, well, if you get this done, yeah. So my dad was like, when I leave, I leave you with one thing to do, cut the grass. And I had like, what was it, 2.5 acres of land. And that takes, by myself, it takes over 5 hours to do it.
Oh, wow.
So I had the whole weekend to do it. I was like, it's not a big deal, you know. It's Friday. I'll play games today because it's you know it's nice, but I'll play games today.
You're like, I'll get started on my weekend and then
yeah. So I play games Friday into Saturday, Saturday into Sunday, and it rains Sunday, and I'm like,
no.
I'm like, no. Like I was so. My dad, like, was coming home, so, like, I was out there trying to cut grass in the rain. I remember this. And, obviously the grass was just clumping underneath the, like, lawnmower.
Was it while it was pouring down, too?
Oh, yeah. It was bad. And, I just remember, like, I stopped cutting the grass, and I knew, I was like, I'm finished. I'm done for. So then my dad gets home, and I'm just, like, sitting there with this, like, oh God, here it comes. And he just like, Ken? And I'm like, oh God, here it comes. And he's like, I need you to tell me, why didn't you cut the grass? I'm like, well, what you see is I made up this elaborate story about how the tractor wouldn't start. And he's like, okay, let's see if this tractor starts. So like, obviously it starts right up. And I'm like, didn't work for me kind of thing. And he's like, I don't fall for it. So needless to say, I didn't play video games for like probably a month. It was really bad. But the whole reason why I bring this up is because I wanted to talk about how Prince Harry actually wants to ban Fortnite because he claims it's addictive for kids.
I guess he has a valid point. I mean, we know that there's a lot of kids playing because, what is it, Fortnite made like over $2 billion just last year in 2018.
Something like that, yeah.
For Fortnite. So a lot of kids' parents' monies went into that game.
Yeah, that's 100% true. But do you feel that games are addictive? Do you feel that they're like, you know, the whole Donald Trump speech about games being addictive? Like, do you feel that it's actually addictive for kids, or do you feel it's not addictive?
I mean, as a kid, I would have been like, no way, I'm not addicted to video games. But now, as I think about it, I would definitely say that I was like, I think it's addicting. For me, I wouldn't say that it was like obsessive or anything.
Yeah.
It would just be like, that's just what I did, and that was like easy. Because then my parents, I think, even liked it. They're like, oh, if I give him a video game for his birthday and Christmas, you know,
yeah, he's
like suddenly really happy. And it's like, they're like, oh, it's one game, easy gift, and then boom, he's happy for his birthday, you know?
Yeah.
But I think, I don't know, I would say that it's addicting, but what are the consequences? Like, if there's really no downside, then is it a problem? Like, yeah, they're spending a lot of time playing these games, but I guess it comes down to time management. Like, it's really on the parents to let the kids play these video games, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
I don't know.
I have to respectfully disagree in a sense. I mean, don't get me wrong. I believe that some people have addictive personality. I myself, when I get stuck on something, I get stuck on something, and I focus on that. So I wouldn't say my personality is addictive, but sometimes when I have something that I really want to do, I get focused, like hyper focused. I'm like, just this. I just want to do this, nothing else. I don't pay attention really to anything else. Like tunnel vision. But I mean, there's some people out there that don't have this issue. It's not addictive or addicting to them to, play video games. So in my mind, it depends on the person is what I'm going to say. Just because.
Yeah, I think it's definitely on the person. Because I know that for me, I think the biggest sign of being like, I don't know if addictive is really the word I want to use, because a lot of people who play video games, they can stop, like they can go do something else that they got to do. It's not like that they're like stuck there. I mean, you know what I mean? That like addictive is really like a harsh word, because I think for like where it kind of gets borderline addictive is where like you always sit there and you're like, one more game. We've all said this. We've all been like, all right, one more match, one more game.
Yeah.
Let's end on a good note.
Yeah, and it's like 10 o'clock, and then next time you look at it, after you say one more game, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. You're like, oh, God, what did I do? But no, I mean, I agree. There'll be times I'll be stuck and so fixated on a game. Like right now, Red Dead. I was so stuck on Red Dead, like I was playing it constantly. Over and over again, wanted to play it to its full extent, but then it got nice out, so I just went outside and started bike riding, doing things, and I completely forgot about Red Dead for a while, and then I went back to it, and things like that. Like, it depends. During the winter, I'm more fixated on video games than I am during the summer. The summer, I'll play here and there, I'll dabble, in some games, but it's nothing like the winter. The winter's the worst for me.
Yeah, I think I'm just like you, where I definitely have those moments where I'm playing the game and I'm just like, I just don't feel like playing anymore. And you just kind of set the game down just for that day. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, I've had enough today.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if that's something I purposely do, or it's just like a natural, just like, I'm getting a little bored of playing this game over and over again. I want to do something else, Yeah. I think that's like I think everyone pretty much has that. I don't know if, I think whenever you got your friends sitting down there with you, I don't know, like all it takes is that one friend that's very persuasive to like one more game.
I think I'm that friend to you. Am I right about that?
Yeah, and then because like it's always like that guilt where you're like, oh, but if I don't play another game, then he's gonna be like, oh, I wish I could have played another game, and then that's how he's gonna end his night. He's gonna go to bed being like, oh, I wish I could have played one more game. Yeah. I mean, for all I know, you could have just been like, oh, okay. And then, like, gone on and...
I'll never tell you, so then you can always have that on your mind if I say one more game.
Oh, no.
So. No, but the reason also why Prince Harry brings this up is because there was a statistic out that actually said 200 divorces were in 2018 in the UK were caused by Fortnite. 200. That's a lot.
So, I'm almost wondering if maybe... Because I do know that Fortnite, like, there was a craze, or is a craze kind of still. Like, everyone probably, because what is it? They had 250 million players, like, unique people have played this game. So it's definitely impacted a lot of people. And I saw this statistic that they said that, like, around 60% of, teens in the United States have played Fortnite. So, like, over half the teens have played this game. So, like, that when it affects that many people, the other half that hasn't played this game yet has heard about it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I think it's definitely impacted. And I think the other thing also with with those divorces, I guess, is like, Fortnite's definitely one of those games where like, it's a very long, like, you get into a game and it maybe takes, 15 minutes, half an hour or something like that.
Yeah. And you can't pause it.
Right. And I think like there's like other games where like, like Call of Duty or something, you come in, you can jump in a match or something like that, kind of over in a couple minutes or something, or same with like Rocket League or something. But I think it's just it started taking up a lot of time, and I think that's, I guess, what it comes back to again, like time management. I think that the divorces were caused by like, Actually, you know what? It might be the time, but I didn't consider this. Maybe money. They were spending too much money on the skins, or
no, man. And that's the thing. Like, I don't like about statistics. They don't really specify. They just say because it's like a Fortnite related thing that they just bundle it in Fortnite and say, they could say addiction is the cause of divorce because, you know, Fortnite is an addictive thing, they say. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right. I guess it could have been that, like, the divorce was going to happen anyway, but that was the one thing that they latched onto because it was something that they did. Because, like, when you play, like, Fortnite every day, your spouse is going to notice, hey, they're playing Fortnite every day.
Yeah.
And you're like, you've already got those, like, you know, feelings that, you know, built up, and then suddenly you can start like latching on to something that they're doing, like, oh, it's just they're playing Fortnite, but suddenly that becomes like, you ever had that where like even the most normal thing, if you hate that person, you're just like, oh, are you really going to be like, you know, drinking water or, you know, something really normal, and you're just like
something that really doesn't make you mad.
Drinking water, you're like, not, you know, I don't know.
No. I think it's hilarious, but I also have to look into who put out that statistic. I hate when like someone's like, oh, the stuff they put in Coke is bad for you, it caused diabetes, and then you see who did the research for that, and it's like a competitor of Coke, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right,
like is this really skewed?
Biased,
like, yeah,
you know, surveys or something, because like, oh, they interviewed people and then 61% of team, like, they obviously didn't survey everybody. Maybe they went to like, hey, let's go to these
one high school or something. They're like, all right,
something like that. Like one high school doesn't, you know, necessarily speak for all, but
yeah, it all comes down to sample size and who's doing the research. I mean, that really helps. But
yeah, and then also I think this other piece of gaming news, which honestly surprised me, is that so Fortnite made over $2 billion in 2018 alone, and suddenly you see a trend now with all these companies, Google Stadia, you know, Apple Arcade, now it's the Microsoft xCloud. Like,
so we're talking about cloud gaming?
Right, that they're like, hey, we need to get in this gaming world, you know, realm and try to like get our share of that money, because there's a see, that's what I'm saying, it's another biased number possibly. I read that gaming or mobile gaming made $77 billion. So like you know how we always keep saying like, oh, gaming makes a lot of money.
Yeah.
So now Snapchat has started noticing, hey, gaming makes a lot of money.
Oh, no, don't say.
And it's one of those things that you see, and you like you kind of look at their stocks, and they've kind of been going down a little bit. I guess everyone's kind of like, yeah, Snapchat's not as, you know.
I thought Snapchat was bought by somebody else though, weren't they? Some other company. I don't remember. It's not important.
Yeah, I haven't really followed. I know there was a time that they could have sold it for like millions, and then they were like, no, and then they ended up like becoming even bigger. But it's like, would have that happened anyway? You know, like, I don't know. But anyway, Snapchat has now, you know, unveiled their own like gaming service, like in the Snapchat.
Oh my!
And you know what's even funnier to me especially is that they're releasing 6 games, and one of the games is a battle royale mobile game.
Oh my goodness! They can't see me, but I'm shaking my head right now. It's just like ridiculous. It just blows my mind that so many people are tapping into this market. The market for games are so saturated right now, and it's ridiculous the amount of people coming into the market. So, for example, if you have so many different people coming to the party, and you just have like all these options just appear. You know what I'm saying? What happens to those people that just spend a ton of money and being like, you know what, this is totally going to work, and everybody else is like, I'm going to spend a ton of money, this is totally going to work, and they all come together, do the same thing, and there's people that are already established and already made a name for themselves basically in the gaming world. I don't know. It just makes me so mad. This whole thing. What I'm trying to say is, it's a roundabout way of me saying this, but Snapchat coming into this is a joke, in my opinion. Like, it blows my mind.
A cash grab, like they're just trying to be like, get their hand in the money pot, you know? Like,
yeah, of course they are.
I want to get a handful of that. Because I know Snapchat, like, they have certain like games that you can like like Connect 4 or something. You can or Connect 3. I can't really remember.
Or are they gonna have you shove your face in like a game? They're like, "What? Pick your character," and you just take a picture of your face with the cat ears and stuff, like how how Snapchat shows that stuff.
But they've had games before where you would send the game and you would snap it over to the other person, and then they'd send it back, and you kind of play this game.
Yeah,
but I think with with that, it almost sounds like they're just they're going hardcore. They're actually releasing a battle royale game. They've even got a multiplayer racing game, and then they've got another game that's similar to Words with Friends, from what I remember.
Goodness gracious!
And it's just kind of it's really interesting because that the main reason anybody does anything in big industries is to make money.
Yeah,
you never hear anybody oh, I'm just doing this to help out everybody. The money's not a big deal.
It's not like they're Elon Musk. They're they're reinventing the wheel. I'm not saying they're Elon Musk just did his own thing. He's I'm going to try all these new things. I have a ton of just start throwing money at it, and eventually they started working, and they became such fantastic pieces.
Right, because he never started out or went into these business ventures to make a profit. He's already all right, I've made all the money I need.
Yeah,
let me just start doing something, because that's
exactly
kind of what
he'd see a problem and solve it.
I wanted to go to Mars. Is that possible in my lifetime? He always says that in interviews, and I love that he's always questioning the fact
because he's innovative. Look, it just drives me insane that all these anything that's big anymore. I'm surprised that Facebook isn't trying to dabble in their own their own console, or or Instagram making up some strange cloud gaming thing too. I'm saying they're there for a reason.
Right, and it seems a lot of those companies, Facebook, is definitely a user information company now. All they do is have algorithms and sorting algorithms, everyone's data that they've collected. That's all they're doing. They're how can we get this in advertisements, and they're just trying to optimize it more and more, because they want people that to feel that whenever they invest money into ads on Facebook, that they're getting something out of it. So they're trying to I guess this endless battle, and that's where all their resources are going. And then all this money's being generated, and they give the charities, those big CEOs, but you never really see the Elon Musk, where it's he doesn't have time to donate to charities, because he's he probably does donate. I don't really follow that. That doesn't make news. Everyone hears
he must. Everyone huge donates a ton of money. I'm sure he does. And I don't know Elon Musk to that point, though. But I know he made flamethrowers and Tesla, and he's trying to SpaceX and all that stuff. It just blows my mind. I want why can't Snapchat do something cool for once and say we are designing I don't know a rocket powered seat. I don't know,
powered acrobatic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, why can't they invent? Old school Rocket League term before it was Rocket League, but no, where's the innovation? It's like movies anymore. It's ridiculous. So
because I know that. Yeah, I guess I was one last point is that I know Elon Musk, that he's doing it purely for just to accomplish things, is that he actually has his salary is $1, because he was you know what, I don't want money, I have enough, I want my money, I don't want to be making money, I want this money to go back into the company. That's the kind of person you don't see on CEO positions.
No, it's because that everyone just wants to make the money, and they don't really want to solve a world problem. They just want to be okay, how can we make it less annoying to the point that we can make money and they have to keep on coming back to us? So companies back in the day, they made refrigerators. Those things are amazing. The old school refrigerators, you know what I'm talking about? The ones that were made of pure metal, the super heavy ones.
Right.
They still, I'm not even kidding when I say this. My uncle still has one that's so old, but it still works just fine. But look at the new ones. They're built to last for 10 years and then break.
Yeah. They were built to last, not built to be replaced, is what they are now.
Exactly. Because you don't have money to just throw away back in the good old days. Usually and as wrong as this may be, they had one person working, and it was usually the male, and the woman would stay home with the kids, and that was their own source of income. So they knew for a fact that if they're going to invest in it, it better be something worth investing in. If you're going to buy something, it better work, and it better work for a long period of time. So They designed that stuff, and it was just there for a long time.
Yeah, I do think, though, another point with the Snapchat games is that they do have ad, like, run, like, the games are kind of like ad revenue is where the games kind of make their money. You don't have to pay for anything. It's all free, and it's not a subscription-based, gaming thing. Like, it's not it's not cloud gaming, which is, kind of interesting because I think they have like the on-phone gaming thing already figured out. But I think it's just interesting that like that's how they're. I would think that like Snapchat games might have an advantage just a little bit, just because they're not subscription. Because like if you got to pay something every, month,
they didn't say anything about subscription based.
It's not subscription based. That's the thing. Like it's like, oh, if you watch like a 6-second ad, then you can get like a perk or something in the game. Or something
so
like
they're
that.
selling it like they're doing like an ad, like watch an ad, get something kind of like Twitch, how they do like you watch ads, you get bits, you can pay your favorite streamers, so you don't have to really technically pay any money out of your pocket. That's kind of cool. I mean, it's a cool concept. I'll give it that.
So it's like one of those things where it's like, are you going to be willing to put up 6 seconds every now and then while you're playing? Because I don't know how often these 6-second things come up. Yeah,
and it's kind of a neat concept in the sense that because they know that most people that use Snapchat anymore. I don't use Snapchat. Most people that use Snapchat are kids, and they don't have a ton of money. And the easiest way to get people to be invested in something is for free. And how else obviously it's not beneficial for them to work. Yeah, and I'm saying like it's not beneficial for Snapchat to just be like it's free. So, here you go. They can make sure that people watch the ads, get money from the people that they're selling the ads for, and then boom, done. It pays for itself.
Yeah. It sounds like they're just doing mobile gaming except on a larger scale. Like, how we always say that they're like those gaming platforms like the Epic Game Store and Steam. Like, I almost wonder if Snapchat's trying to do that because they've got 6 different games you can play on Snapchat. Like, have they become that mobile game platform? Maybe because it's the way the games are made are all like those 6-second ads, and I don't know. It's just really interesting because I already know that there's like the Apple Store and then Google Play Store. Like those things exist where you can download games, but I don't know. It's just interesting to see how this whole gaming realm has been evolving so rapidly. I think
that's the funny part I was going to say as well, man. Blows my mind. Like, I turn around, I go to sleep, I wake up the next day, someone else is entering the gaming world. Like, really? That's unreal.
Yeah. I think actually these past, like, couple weeks, I think have been the most gaming, like, platform announcements ever. Like, we've had Google, we've had, Microsoft, Apple, and now Snapchat. Maybe Amazon's going to come in. But
Verizon as well?
Or Twitch, I mean.
Yeah,
so Verizon.
Come on, Elon Musk. Make a system. I think it'd be awesome.
No, Elon Musk is going to make
something that's worthwhile and actually not
he's going to create like the wireless internet from like satellites, where everywhere you go, there's like good internet. I remember that was one of his big like projects that he wanted to do. That's why
he has so many projects on his list. Man.
I know, like, so he'll be the one that's like making all the money because everybody's got to use his internet service because they're like, I want to play video games out, while I'm. Yeah,
because how else are you gonna do and use the cloud basically out in gaming? You can play on any platform, on anything, like any device, any Android device, any device in general, and you can't do it with the 4G that you have right now. You got to go to 5G and.
Yeah, like I'm saying, like he's going to be like the Google Fiber of like the.
What can't Verizon be like that and be like, you know what? Instead of making game streaming, we should just buff our internet up and get people to play it because they're going to pay it when they want to play some game on the xCloud or something.
I'm sure they've got one like in the works. They're going to have like you wait. There's going to be a gaming service like cell phone plan.
Oh, for sure,
Verizon.
Well, that'd be dumb of them not to do it. I mean, if they're coming out with their own gaming system, they have their own network. I mean, it's a smart idea, but like I'm saying, these people, they need to do something different. Like it just needs to be something creative, innovative.
It's just more of the same.
It is, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm excited for cloud gaming, but am I really going to utilize cloud gaming? No, because I like the time that I don't have. Like, if I'm at my house and I can play my game Oh, awesome. That's cool. But I'm not going to go out and be like, dang it, I wish I was playing something else when I'm like, somewhere else. I mean, I'm out to do something else to get away from everything kind of thing. So
Right, but I think you're not in the mentality of like a kid. Like imagine if you like 10, 15 years ago, back as a kid, like would you be like, oh man, this is amazing? I think that's really what it is that they realize a lot of money and marketing is made off of kids because that's you hear on
they're
YouTube
the most
like
you can influence them the easiest out of everybody. I mean, once you grow up, you kind of form your own opinions about things. Yeah. You kind of form your own opinions. You're like, oh man, I don't like Pepsi products. I only like Coke products. You know what I mean? Like, or so,
right. Like you're not just swayed by like an ad. You're just kind of like, oh okay. Like I get like because for now it's like when you're in as you get older, it's more just brand awareness is how marketing works at that point. Like it's just like, oh, I didn't know that this brand existed, but I see the commercials now. I know it existed, so that's how like they work. But as a kid, it's like I want it,
It's the best brands usually don't market themselves, because their product sells themselves. But you get to see the crappy brands or the fast food brands, if you will, of the world,
right?
Because
what's actually interesting is that Tesla has spent $0 on marketing. Did you know that? All marketing
did not, but I can believe that actually.
Word of mouth. It's all through word of mouth and just social media. Like all they do is have like a Instagram page where they post stuff, and then news articles pick it up.
I mean, not gonna lie, some of the news articles I've seen of Tesla haven't been the best. I mean,
well, I think that's all they want to talk about. They don't want to talk about all the innovative things. Because did you know that like his Gigafactory? We're not even talking about games anymore, but his Gigafactory makes all those battery packs. Is actually supplying battery packs for like other electric car companies, like to the point where he's done it so well that they can't hilarious. Even compete with his battery.
They're just like, all right, we'll use it. That's so cool.
So like, even though he's like he has a very dominant presence in the electric car like business.
Yeah,
he has the electric battery like almost like a monopoly. Like he's just doing it so well that like no one else can compete. Like,
dude, you know what's really crazy is the fact I watched his rocket launch, and you know how the successful coming back of the rocket, how it like actually can stabilize itself and land on a like
right.
It's so it blows my mind. Someone who actually has that technology, and he's like attempting to make the fastest travel, like business travel or leisure travel to go places by using the same technology and implementing it eventually. Like blows my mind.
Oh, really? Like he's gonna have like you rocket off to wherever you want to go.
Yeah, and then it saves you so much time. I mean,
I'm sure it saves a ton of time.
It was him saying it in passing, like that was his like one of his goals with that kind of technology that he himself has done. Like he has shown that it works. And once they like make sure, it's a very reliable technology, then he wants to do something like that with travel, which could blows my mind because it cuts travel in like a third, maybe a fourth, if I think about it.
Yeah, I know that he's even doing those like tunnels that he's having, like.
But it wasn't that in California or something.
Yeah, he's got a couple in California because like he wants to travel between like his two. I think it's like the Gigafactory and back to his Tesla factory.
Of course, he's like Batman.
I think it's actually more like people say like he's like Tony Stark.
That too. I mean, I can see that.
Like he'd be the one who would make the suit, like the Iron Man suit. Like if he came out and he was like, "Hey, I made this suit," everyone would be like, "Oh yeah, we totally saw that."
But is he intelligent enough to make it himself, or is he intelligent enough to hire the right people to make it for him? Is the question.
That's how I think he is, because I know there's like an older thing back whenever he sold X.com to PayPal.
Yeah,
that's where he made his first couple of big millions. Because like everyone thinks he made it through PayPal, but he was already a millionaire while he was working at PayPal because he sold X.com and they merged all those like online payment companies together. So he made a bunch there, and then when he was talking, he said, "I'm not the smartest person, but I'm all I need to do is just get the smart people together in the same room." Is what he's like. Exactly. That was his philosophy. Like he's like, all it takes is a couple phone calls, and he's like, you just got to know who to call. Yeah, and that's where your real smarts come in: who to call and how to talk to them. So like. And how to like convince them and talk them into getting them together to work on these projects.
But that's the same could be said about anything though too. I mean, look at streaming. I mean, you could, as long as you know the right people, I mean, you can really make a name for yourself. You can really learn a lot from those individuals, and that's probably how he, made himself. Elon Musk. He probably got a lot of his ideas from sitting in, listening to other people, getting their ideas, kind of like improving those ideas, and boom.
Yeah, I mean, I know he had like some connections, but it was like a lot of it like really boiled down to him like utilizing those connections. Like there was nobody like, because like that's the other thing. Like you can call the right person. You need to know how to like utilize them to the like to that potential. Like they can help you, but can you get them to do like?
You just got to know the right
really
questions to ask too. I mean,
right questions to ask, right people.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just awesome to see that he's like utilizing that, smart, that's skill to like the fullest.
So we just had a giant long conversation about Elon Musk and how like Snapchat needs to step up its game instead of creating the Fast and the Furious of the world. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but then what would you think if Snapchat was suddenly like, we've entered the rocket, space game? Would you be like, oh my God, Snapchat? Like, are you really gonna?
I'd applaud it. I'd applaud it because, that is, in my opinion, for them to go from that extreme to the next. Like, there's not enough people. It's not saturated, like in that market. And by doing so right now, it's fantastic because that actually they could possibly
I guess you're right,
make some type of technology.
You hear Google do that same kind of thing where all of a sudden they release a, what is it, like Google Maps. Like that was like
cutting edge.
Whoa.
You're like, what?
Right, like
wow.
Suddenly like they do the things that like everybody's kind of like, oh, I wish I could see what it looked like over there just on the street, or like, what does this house look like that I'm going to? I don't even know. Yeah. How do I get there? Like all that stuff is just like I guess you're right. Like if Snapchat was taking that route where they were just like creating things that helped people to that extreme, you'd be like, wow, Snap. Like they probably just
did yourself.
I doubt they would be. Yeah, they wouldn't just be Snapchat. They'd be Snap.
No, I'm not even gonna lie, man. If they had like a GoFundMe for stuff like that, I would probably throw in a few bucks just because like that's awesome. For someone to come up with something new and creative, that's fantastic. And I applaud people for taking the risk to do that because in a world where like money is the game, you want to make as much money as you can, and the easiest thing to do is take someone else's idea, change it a little bit, make it your own, and sell it. That's easy. Taking the risk and actually doing something completely different, I give people the credit. Even if they fail, you find a way to do it better next time, or you learn a lesson. And I think it's amazing because a lot of the things that we have right now, like I'm almost positive. Don't quote me on this, please, for the love of Jesus. But I think Velcro was a mistake. No, it was.
Velcro was made because of NASA or something.
Or something. I can't remember. Something was. There's a lot of things in the world that were made by mistake. That like it wasn't supposed to happen that way, but it happened that way, and they're like, "Holy crap! This is actually really useful, and we can use it for many things, such as this and this." But like,
yeah, a lot of like things have come out through accidents.
I know there's like.
I know we'll have to have another podcast on this particular topic, but I do know what you're talking about. Where like it came through accidents, and yeah.
I don't know, man. It just.
I think it's enough for this podcast. I think we've really been.
I know we went down the
topic.
If Elon Musk though made we'll go bring it back to gaming. If Elon Musk made a console, I'd buy it in a heartbeat. He knows what's up.
Yeah, he would have everyone's heart on that console.
Dude, he'd have a console that would like float around and make you a sandwich, bring it back to you while you game. Like that's what Elon Musk would do. He would take something that was existing and make it better. So. We'll go with that.
No, he make it a lot better because, like,
true.
I'm
not gonna lie. There's so many times I'm just like, but I want to play this game. I don't want to get up and make a sandwich. So then I'll be like, oh, push a button on my controller, and then it gets me a sandwich and brings it back to me. That'd be fantastic. But we'll have to see because I'm sure next week something else is gonna come out. So I'm sure we'll be talking about something again. So
we'll have to find out.
And thank you for listening to this episode of the Rad Gaming Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and rate and subscribe to us on iTunes or wherever else you listen to podcasts.
We release a new episode every Wednesday and Friday. And as always, stay rad, comrades.